Good morning, everyone. Hello, and welcome to the February 28th episode of the Bacon Bets podcast. And thank God that this month is finally over after today. I don't know what happened, my friends. 0-4 night last night. The old reverse sweep. I don't know what to say. If you guys have been following my picks on Twitter, you know how hot I was in January. But of course, gambler giveth, gambler taketh away. I just got to chalk it up to a bad month. Listen, even professional bettors whose primary source of income is their bets, even they have bad weeks, months, seasons. So I don't know. This is listen. I can take some losses. I can take some, a streak of non-winning nights. But this is I think since I started this new format where I wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning for some godforsaken reason. So I've done 6 shows. I think 5 of them have been losing. Capped off with last night where I went 0-4. It is what it is. All I can do is keep grinding. This is Sisyphus. This is the boulder keeps falling back to the bottom of the mountain. We gotta just try to keep pushing it back up. But this show, if I stay this cold, you're gonna watch the downfall of a man. You're gonna see a man go from a perfectly sane, healthy man to a man that's broken and might end up in a mental institution. We'll see. It'll be fun for everyone. So let's get into today's show. Now, I will say today's show, and maybe this is a good thing. Maybe this is a great thing for it being the last episode of the month, because on this episode of the podcast, I'm actually not giving any picks out for tonight. What I'm going to be giving out on this show is my picks for the Arnold Palmer Invitational, which starts on Thursday, the PGA Tour event. I'll give my pick to win the Puerto Rico Open, which is the alternate PGA Tour event. And then I'm going to give out some picks to win some of the smaller mid-major conference tournaments in college basketball that kick off today and tomorrow. So they're all kind of futures that I'm going to be giving out on the show. If you want my picks for tonight, Tuesday night's action, Chasing That Paper of the show with myself and Joe Osborne is back today after a couple-week hiatus. So you can watch that. That'll live stream on the Vegas Insider YouTube page at 11 a.m. Eastern. And you'll be able to watch the replay of that as well. So check that out if you want my best bets for tonight. If you are looking for my best bets for tonight, then you are probably just going to go ahead and fade them, which is, I would recommend doing that at this point. But let's talk about a sport that I haven't actually been too bad in. I say that. I mean, I did go 0-3 with my PGA Tour picks this past weekend, but Marcel Siem to win the DP World Tour event at 42-1 makes up for it. Let's see if I can't hit another golf winner in back-to-back weeks. So let's start off with the PGA Tour event here. I'll start off with, I got a top 20, top 10, top 5, and to win pick. I'm going to start off with my pick to win because that kind of leads into the rest of my picks. So to win the Arnold Palmer Invitational, I'm going to take Scotty Scheffler. 9-1. Now, I know a lot of you listening to this are immediately going to groan, oh, Iain, you're taking the second biggest favorite on the odds board. Listen, my strategy to bet the PGA Tour has now completely shifted. There was a time not that long ago where I would refuse to take any golfer in the top 3 on the odds board. I think we need to stop doing that as a collective. I think in elevated PGA Tour events, we need to stop looking at dark horses. We need anyone who's, I would say, 40-1 or longer, just scratch them off your list. Because all season last season, and certainly so far this season at the elevated events, when it's a stacked field, the top guys win. There's just too many good guys in these events for someone random to come out and beat them over a 4-day tournament. Now, I'm not saying you have to take Scotty Scheffler or John Rahm, but I mean, you're taking a Rory, you're taking a Morikawa, you're taking a Homa, you're taking a Cantlay, you're taking a Xander, you're taking a Will Zalatoris, Justin Thomas, Victor Hovland, and then the list almost ends there, at least guys who are playing well right now. This week, I am going to take Scotty Scheffler. He's the second favorite on the odds list. John Rahm plus 650. I'll take Scotty Scheffler at 9-1. I'm going to opt for him over Rahm because Scheffler is a lot better off the tee, or at least more consistent off the tee, which you kind of have to be at the Arnold Palmer Invitational because you will get in trouble if you don't hit fairways at this course, which Rahm, even when he won the Genesis, he was still a little bit wayward with his driver. He can't be that wayward with his driver at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. It will come back to haunt him. Scheffler second in strokes gained off the tee. First in bogey avoidance. Bogey avoidance is big at the Arnold Palmer Invitational as well. Very easy course to bogey. It's a difficult course. And he's, like I said, first on the tour in bogey avoidance. And he's also the defending champ, which is also a huge point. Past success has been a huge indicator at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Not only should you have past success here, you should do well. You should have done well in a previous season at Bay Hill. Scheffler obviously has. He won it last year, so you don't get much better than that. I'm done feeling stupid every single Sunday when Scotty Scheffler is in the mix and goes on to win and I have no action on him. So it's time for me to fix that. Like I said, my entire strategy betting on the PGA Tour has changed. I feel stupid. I feel like a square. But give me Scotty Scheffler to win at 9-1. And really all these picks are at least a kind of square. Even my top 5 pick. My top 5 pick, my boy, my baby boy, my best friend, Will Zalatoris. Top 5 plus 350. He thrives at events at difficult courses. That is when I bet Will Zalatoris. He's not going to win a 23 under par birdie fest, but he is going to win or at least compete at events where it's going to be a single digit under par, maybe 10 under, 11 under, 12 under. And that's exactly what Bay Hill is. He's 6th in strokes gained off the tee. Once again, important. If I were to say the biggest important stats this week, I'd say strokes gained off the tee. I'd say bogey avoidance. I'd say approaches over 200 yards. I'd say par 5 scoring. You got to score in the par 5s at Bay Hill. And then throw in past success if you want to count that as stat. So strokes gained off the tee, bogey avoidance, par 5 scoring, past success. Yeah. Will Zalatoris 6th in strokes gained off the tee, 8th in bogey avoidance, 4th in par 5 scoring. So those 3 major ones, he checks the box. He's top 8 in all 3 of those. Also, a lot of people do chirp Will Zalatoris for his putting, and rightfully so because his stroke is bad, but he's actually statistically been a pretty good putter on tour this season. 27th in strokes gained putting so far this year. So difficult course. I think this is where Will Zalatoris thrives. I will take him to finish in the top 5 at plus 350. Don't know if he can win, so I'll take him to finish in the top 5 instead. Now this one, I'm questioning myself a little bit on this one because this next one is a guy who hasn't actually competed at Bay Hill at the Arnold Palmer Invitational, but this is a guy who was overvalued there for about a month. His prices have come back down to earth, so now I think is the time to jump back on this guy, and this is Tom Kim, the man who some are calling the South Korean Tiger Woods. Love Tom Kim. I was myself and Cody Williams, my co-host on Green on the Greens, RIP to Green on the Greens. Him and I were on Tom Kim before it was cool. But then it got cool, and he became overvalued in the betting market. Now those odds have cooled off. I think top 10 plus 350 is the right price for Tom Kim. It's good enough for me to jump on him. He's 21st in total strokes gained, 13th in scrambling, 6th in bogey avoidance, 5th in scoring average. And the other stat, I don't know if I mentioned earlier, my brain is still asleep because it's 6:34 in the morning. I'm actually recording this a few minutes later than normal. He's 12th in approaches from 200 to 225 yards. A lot of long approaches this week, so look at 200-plus yard approach shots. Tom Kim is 12th in that as well. So Tom Kim, top 5, plus 350. Moving on to my top 20 bet, I'm going to go with Keith Mitchell, a guy who's a little bit of a resurgence this season. He has been hot at least the past few weeks. But people forget Keith Mitchell has a very good history at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. He finished 6th here in 2019, 5th in 2020. And like I said, he has been playing some of his best golf that he's played all season. Two top 5 finishes in his last 3 starts. A solo 5th at the Genesis Invitational, which was, of course, an elevated event. His game fits the course well. 5th in strokes gained off the tee, 51st in bogey avoidance. Now, if there is one thing that could let him down, it's his putter. He's not a great putter at all. Bottom half of the tour in putting. But still, that's why I'm only taking him to finish in the top 20. Past success, course style fits the course well. I think he's worth a shot. Keith Mitchell, top 20 at plus 190. I don't have a graphic here for my Puerto Rico Open pick. Let me see if I can write it up here really quick. The graphics I'm using, I'm allowed 4. So that's why I can't type them all up, and that's why I got to take a break after this before we get into college basketball. But for some reason, this format allows 4. With that being said, I just typed in my Puerto Rico Open pick. Oh, hold on. There he is. Harry Hall, I'm going to take a shot on to win the Puerto Rico Open, which, if you're not familiar, is the alternate event since Arnold Palmer Invitational is that, an invitational. The PGA Tour is like alternate field event is a Puerto Rico Open. You want to know how bad this field is for a PGA Tour event? Let me bring up the odds here. The betting favorite to win the Puerto Rico Open is Nate Lashley. Do you know Nate Lashley? Wouldn't blame me if you didn't. I barely know him. I recognize the name, don't know much about him. Let's go down the odds list here. Nate Lashley, 14-1. Andrew Novak, 18-1. Scott Piercy, 20-1. Akshay Bhatia, who I bet on at 125-1 last week heading into Sunday. Eric Van Rooyen, Sam Stevens, Cameron Percy, Dylan Wu, Brandon. Anyways, the point is, it's a bunch of nobodies. Why am I going to take Harry Hall? It's pretty simple. He's the best putter in the field. 3rd in strokes gained putting. I believe a lot of the time, these alternate field events where it's a bunch of bums, the best putter wins. That's kind of been my thesis when it comes to these, because none of them are really going to strike the shit out of the ball. They're all going to kind of suck. It's going to be whichever guy gets hot and then whichever guy putts the best. So Harry Hall, 35-1. I like what I've seen from him lately. Like I said, he's 3rd on the entire tour in strokes gained putting, so he's going to be the best putter in the field this week. I know I don't normally bet on good putters primarily. Usually I look at good ball strikers, but there's no good ball strikers. I guess if you want to bet on a good ball striker, take that Akshay Bhatia guy. But I think the media has pumped this guy up so much that he's kind of overvalued from the betting market because, yeah, he's great with his approach game, but everything else sucks. So I'll take a shot on Harry Hall, sure. I'm not going to give a deep dive into the stats behind him or behind the course. I don't really know too much about it. Also, who cares? But hey, I hit Marcel Siem in a DP World Tour event on the flyer last week. Let's make my flyer this week Harry Hall, 35-1, Puerto Rico Open. Let's do it. So there you go. That's it for the golf portion of the podcast. Like I said, coming up, I do got some picks for some smaller mid-major conference tournaments that start today and tomorrow. Those picks are in the Sun Belt Conference, the Big South Conference, the Horizon League, and the Missouri Valley Conference. So stay tuned. I'll be back in just a moment to give out my picks to win those. All right, we are back. Let's give out some conference tournament winners. Let's start. I'm going to start with the one that I tweeted out yesterday. So if you follow me on Twitter, you already know this one. It is the Sun Belt Conference tournament winner. I'm going to go South Alabama, 10-1. I think a big thing that has to do with winning conference tournaments is getting hot at the right time. South Alabama has been hot, 8-2 in their last 10 games, heating up at the right time. They did have a disappointing regular season finish, 9-9 in conference play. But yet they're 4th on the odds list. This is something that I like to do when it comes to betting on conference tournament winners, especially the smaller conferences. Look to see teams who are further up the odds list than their seeding. So in this case, the number 8 seed is 4th on the odds list. Why is that? Well, it's because the sportsbooks know that this is a better team than what their seeding says. And I agree, because you look at South Alabama, they're one of the better shooting teams in the conference, and they're also good defensively. This is, when you look at the stats, this is not a team that should have gone 9-9 in the Sun Belt Conference. 84th in the country in effective field goal percentage, 87th in defensive efficiency. So top 100 both in shooting and in defense. They do it, and this is a stat that I love when it comes to smaller conferences. Don't turn the ball over, and that is something South Alabama does a fantastic job of. Only 15th in the country in turnovers per possession. Now, their biggest weakness, which has cost them, is that they're actually terrible at rebounding the ball. Just a complete inability to rebound the ball. But they're strong enough in other areas to make up for it. Like I said, great shooting team, great defensive team. They don't turn the ball over. This is not a team anyone in the Sun Belt Conference wants to face this week. So 10-1. Like I said, there's a reason the 8 seed is 4th on the odds list, because they're dangerous. Give me the South Alabama Jaguars at 10-1 to win the Sun Belt Conference. Side note, here in New York, last year, I tweeted this. So one of my favorite days last year was going to the ACC tournament in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center, because tickets were cheap. I went a day I had off. I went and I just watched 2 games in a row. Just got obliterated, drunk, and ate food and cheered for Virginia Tech. And it was a great time. It was one of the funnest days of the year last year for me. I was the Atlantic 10 is at the Barclays Center this year. ACC is not coming back. I was hoping to do that. Of course, my one day off is the day that they have a break in the tournament, so I cannot go to the Atlantic 10. But I think I will splurge on some tickets and go watch the Big East semifinal games on Saturday night. So that will be an absolute blast. Looking forward to that. That was a complete side note. I'm not picking the Big East yet because the bracket isn't set and odds aren't out. So let's move on to tournaments that the odds are out for. Let's talk the Big South Conference. I'm going to go with Longwood. Plus 240. That's a name. Longwood. Try to think of a joke. Couldn't think of one quick enough. We're moving on. Despite despite UNC Asheville winning the regular season crown, and they won it pretty comfortably, 4-game lead over Longwood, they are not the betting favorite here, and I think it's for good reason. UNC Asheville, very good team when it comes to shooting, when it comes to playing defense, but UNC Asheville does have some major shortcomings that I think will cause them to struggle against the top-seeded teams in the conference tournament. And those areas are 343rd in effective possession ratio, 323rd in extra scoring chances per game. That's because they turn the ball over a ton and they do not grab any offensive rebounds. So they do not create those extra chance scoring opportunities. Their possessions aren't effective because they turn the ball over a ton. Now, good shooting and good defense can make up for that against bad teams. I think that's going to come and bite them in the ass in the conference tournament. So I will not be betting on UNC Asheville. I'm going to look to Longwood instead, because they can hang with UNC Asheville when it comes to shooting. But they rank 41st and 14th in those 2 stats I mentioned earlier, effective possession ratio and extra scoring chances per game. Just like look at turnovers, which is a big factor in both of those stats. UNC Asheville 313th in the country in turnovers per possession, Longwood 32nd in opponent turnovers per possession. So if those 2 teams face off, Longwood should be able to make UNC Asheville cough up the ball all over the court. The Bulldogs, which is UNC Asheville, did win both regular season games against the Lancers, but if they do meet a third time in the conference title game, I think Longwood matches up with them well stylistically, and I think they beat them in the final. So I will take Longwood, the Longwood Lancers, to win the Big South Conference tournament at plus 240. And if Longwood does win the Big South, it'll make my wood long. Boom! There we go. There's the joke. Pa-pa! All right, let's move on to the Horizon League. I'm going to take the favorite in this one. Actually, I think Longwood was the favorite as well. I promise there was another pick I have coming up that is not the favorite, but Horizon League, Youngstown State to win plus 170. I know plus 170 may not be intriguing odds for a pre-tournament bet, but I think they are by far the best team in the Horizon League. I think plus 170 is actually a gift. Youngstown State is one of the best shooting teams in the country. Forget about just the conference. One of the best shooting teams in the country. 14th in effective field goal percentage heading into the tournament. They also don't turn the ball over, which I think is huge when it comes to these smaller conference tournaments. 32nd in turnovers per possession. Now their defense is not great, but they can shoot any team out of the gym. So I think Youngstown State, like I said, head and shoulders above the rest of the Horizon League. I think plus 170 is a gift for them to win the tournament. I'd put them at like even money, maybe plus 110, plus 120. So I will take Youngstown State to win the Horizon League. I'll back the Penguins to get it done in the Horizon League. Moving on for the final conference tournament pick for this week. It is the Missouri Valley Conference Tournament. I am going to take Indiana State plus 550. Once again, this follows the same rule that I had before, that if a team is further up the odds list than what their seed indicates, that's a pretty good sign. Indiana State is the 5th seed, but they are 3rd on the odds list. Why? Well, because statistically they are a very good team. Now, Bradley and Drake are the top 2 teams on the odds list to win this tournament, and I do think those are they are rightful favorites. Those Bradley and Drake are both very, very good teams. But I think Indiana State matches up with them extremely well statistically, but yet we're getting much better odds in terms of value on Indiana State. You go look down the stats list here: 11th in the country in effective field goal percentage, 56th in defensive efficiency, 90th in turnovers per possession, 150th in rebounding rate. They are a very good, solid team. And once again, that big one that sticks out: 11th in the country in effective field goal percentage. They can shoot the goddamn basketball, which, if you didn't know, is kind of important when it comes to winning basketball games. So, once again, Bradley, Drake, 2 very, very, very good teams. Probably the deserving favorites to win the tournament. But on the odds list, there is a big gap between those 2 teams and Indiana State at plus 550. But statistically, I don't think there should be that big of a gap. I think Indiana State is just as good as Bradley and Drake. So I will take them to win the Missouri Valley Conference Tournament at plus 550. There you go. Those are all my picks for today's show. I will quickly list them off here. Scotty Scheffler to win the Arnold Palmer Invitational plus 900. Will Zalatoris to finish in the top 5 at plus 350. Tom Kim to finish in the top 10 at plus 350. Keith Mitchell top 20 at plus 190. Harry Hall to win the Puerto Rico Open at 35 to 1. And then the conference tournament winners, I just realized I did not make the graphics for these. Gonna have to go without any graphics. For people who are blind, I guess gonna hope that you put on the captions. Sun Belt Conference Tournament winner, South Alabama, 10 to 1. Big South Conference Tournament winner, Longwood, plus 240. Horizon League Tournament winner, Youngstown State, plus 170. Missouri Valley Conference Tournament winner, Indiana State, plus 550. There you go. If you want my picks for tonight's action, tune into Chasing That Paper, which will go live with myself and Joe Osborne on the Vegas Insider YouTube page at 11 a.m. Eastern. But speaking of YouTube pages, please subscribe to mine. Like the video, even though I got a reverse sweep last night. In the comments, tell me how much I suck. Tell me how much you're fading me. And hey, maybe we'll win some bets eventually. March is tomorrow. I think February I was just cursed. I think we'll get back on track tomorrow for my daily picks. How about that? Thank you all so much for watching. May Gambler, the gambling god, bless all of your bets. Good luck tonight. I'll talk to you tomorrow.